sound good.
Yeah.
All right, all right, all right, as the young Mr. Howard would say. Y'all feeling good this morning? Yes.
Yes.
Well, good. I'm gonna get started. I forgot my speaker, so I figure y'all can just listen really close. I'm gonna turn this up as loud as it get. I think you'll get the point. I really want us to, we talk about business ownership. You hear things about Wealth Day coming up. That's just bringing in business owners and people who did it for our own personal gain at the end of the day. But I truly believe if we really work hard as JMG Network distributors and independent representatives, it's all based on an understanding, first of all. If you understand how the rich get richer, then what that does is it gives you that certain, at least for me, it gives me that certain oomph that says this is why I'm doing this. Because in life, you hear me say people stop and go and they stop and go. Well, people who are getting wealthy and have a wealth mindset and a wealth spirit, they go. You may slow down a little bit because no matter what, if you're in a car and you're going up a hill, you'll hear the engine start working harder. So when you're going up an uphill battle, that means if you think of even simple mechanics, the mechanics even work harder. So if you have that car set on cruise control and you're going straight, everything's fine. But once it inclines, the car automatically, you hear that engine start to work more and start doing more to keep you at that same speed. You look at a stock chart. A stock chart, goes all over the place. It's doing these numbers. We like to see it constantly doing that. Then it spike. We all in life get those spikes where it's like everybody gets it. Then after the spike, then some idiot says something, then it goes down. You catch it, and then you start. Then it may level off a little bit there. Then it goes and shoots up. And then next thing you know, it may drop down below where you started, right? You see it. But it's a certain consistency that's going on across the board. You get down, you still have to work it back up to keep that thing going. Just like a stock chart, we do that with our emotions in life. We up 1 minute, the next minute we seem down. Everything's working. It seems like everybody on the planet understands your business. There's two things that I've always said. People are going to always eat, and they're going to always have to monitor the credit and pay taxes and all that. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So we're not reinventing the wheel, but all the other services in the future, yeah, we'll partake in that too. But we do need that certain core leadership group, which is you guys here and those online watching, to say, you know what? Instead of looking what another company does, instead of saying, oh, they have this and they have that, a lot of times people miss the undermining thing that they do have. They have an organization of people working. Y'all get that? As long as you have an organization of people working with you, it doesn't matter what the next product is. It's going to look like everybody wants to do that product when it's really all based on the leader. If we say we're going to sell these Adidas shell heads and there's 10,000 people in your downline, well, instantly 10,000 pairs of shoes are sold, right? What does it look like everybody wants now? Right. No, it's because the leader in that group put a new thing in place. Y'all get that? Mm-hmm. All we're doing is saying, let's take the route of least resistance. We don't want to work that hard, but we got to work that smart. Seeing as, and I want to be around forever, seeing on right now the banking system in the world rates you on credit. Mm-hmm. Well, therefore, then I want to always give you credit tips in monitoring situations. So therefore, you can always do things to keep you on point with the world economy. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we go number 2. We're going to have to eat anyway, right? So you're going to have to eat. Then therefore, I'm going to teach you how to get quality food. Yeah, you can eat anything, but I want to teach you to get quality foods. So certain things happen. So as you see up here, it says how the rich get richer. It's a little animated video that a guy named Tim Sales and maybe some other people have done, and it just makes so much sense. However, what I want you to get today is you'll see me going over a training of how, and basically I'm saying go get some reps. Because no matter what, Wealth Day, we have this thing with value work. Y'all seen, I'll just tell you, so you know what the future is. This may be a year and a half from now, as long as the concept is still good. But you've seen like the daily deal, like a Groupon. Mm-hmm. Imagine you having value worth, because we own the company value worth too. We just haven't launched it. And now the daily deal comes. The daily deal is put in by you, the representative that went to a business. They put in their daily deal. All the price points are already matched. And then it goes out to every rep in the distribution system and their friends and their friends and their friends. And the daily deal is a value worth. Could be a coupon, whatever they download. Now all those reps are getting paid in that person who got that approved company to do it. You see where we're going? I'm like, I get it. You see Netflix, I told you this before. The concept I'm working on, and even if somebody else launches it before me, because it's going to take a few million to do it, is the same concept, but with Christian and positive movies and TV shows only. So it'll be like a family flicks type deal. Mm-hmm. But now, every time they pay that little $7.99 a month, if it's $1 goes to every and split with every distributor, whether it's every church message. I mean, imagine you go to Pastor so-and-so, no matter what the church is, and then they pay a small fee and they upload their message. They can even download stuff for their sales, because each church has a bookstore, but every rep gets a cut. Do y'all see where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. So right now, we have to make sure that we have to get the common denominators in place. What we have in common with everyone on the planet is two things. The My Financial Worth service, because they're going to budget themselves. You have to, no matter what happens, you're going to live off a budget. I promise you. You got to watch your credit, and you're going to have to pay taxes. You can't beat that. The next, people are going to eat. So once we get that established, and we look and say, now there's 15, 20, 50,000 reps. And then we say, value worth. Boom. Your income goes crazy, goes bananas. We say this Netflix type thing. Now people are watching their shows or whatever, putting up their own movies or whatever, and people are just subscribing to it, whatever it is a month. Do y'all see where we're going with this? So that's what I'm saying is, a lot of times people make a mistake of saying, oh, I'm familiar with this company, I'm familiar with that company. I'm like, you have no clue what I'm doing. I'm familiar with them too. You know what I mean? It's like, if you can see what another company's doing, I'm like, but they don't know all the stuff that I want to do. So I'm just telling you, private individuals, hey, this is where this is going. But we have to take care of the little, because I could go work my butt off and get investors to come in and say, hey, we're going to build this now network television platform, and we're going to do all these positive shows, all these good things and it'd be like the ABC Family, you see the after school specials when we were kids, it'd be shows like that. So it ain't going to be all, God, Jesus shows, but it'd be the principles of that. Mm-hmm. So you can sit and watch it like E.T. That's just a good family show. Y'all get my point now? Mm-hmm. It's like way back in the day, there's movies out right now that are just good family principled shows. We're going to be the forefront of those. You want the negative stuff and all of that where that's going on, it has nothing to do with life, yeah, go get the other network. But if you want to get paid and watch it, then you come to that JMG company. Y'all see where this is going? So let's understand the foundation. This is about 9-10 minutes. I'm going to watch this and I'm going to get into it even more. I hope that is good.
Hi, my name is PJ, and welcome to our short presentation. Have you ever wondered how the rich keep getting richer while broke people stay broke and the middle class seems to be shrinking? Well, this isn't nearly as mysterious as it may appear when you examine the specific differences in how broke people, the middle class, and the rich spend their money. Now, this is such a simple concept, yet so profound, it nearly knocked me out of my chair when I finally understood it. I'm going to show you exactly how the rich spend their money, and you can evaluate for yourself why they keep getting richer and the broke keep getting broker, and why the middle class remains so stressed out. Now, to get started, I'd like to review some financial terms we'll be using during this presentation. The terms that you need to be familiar with are cash flow, which means money you bring in, expenses, which means money you spend, assets. Now, this is the most confusing one. You're probably familiar with the traditional definition of an asset, which is something you own or have equity in. However, back in the 1990s, Robert Kiyosaki introduced us to a new definition of an asset in his groundbreaking Rich Dad, Poor Dad series of books. Robert taught us that an asset is something that pays you, and that's the definition we'll be using here. Liabilities is the last term, and it's defined as things that cost you money. As an example, a house is typically viewed as an asset, but can it actually be a liability? Yes, with our revised definition, anything that costs you money is a liability, not an asset. If you have a mortgage, your house is an asset to your banker because it pays him or her every month. But could a house also be considered an asset to you? Yes, in the right circumstances it could, when it pays you money. Let's say you buy a house and you rent it out, and it paid you a positive cash flow every month after all expenses. That would then be considered an asset. Now, one more time with the terms, just to be very clear before we continue. Cash flow is money you make. Expenses, that's money you spend. An asset pays you, and a liability costs you. Now let's take a look at how broke people spend their money. Now, when I say broke people, I'm not referring to the destitute. I'm speaking about that large portion of our society that lives from paycheck to paycheck and who never seem to have any money. In fact, most times there's more month left at the end of their money, and I'm sure many of you can relate to that group. On payday, broke people buy what I'm going to call stuff. Well, what's stuff? Well, that's inexpensive things that people buy that they don't really need to survive. You go into someone's house and you can't find any counter or tabletop space in the whole house because of all the stuff on it. Their house and their cars are full and cluttered with stuff. Well, where do they get all this stuff? They buy it at the flea market, at the garage sale, at the dollar store, at the craft show. So cash flow comes in, and then it goes straight out the expense column to buy stuff. You see, broke people never really educate themselves on assets and liabilities. They justify buying all of this stuff by claiming that it costs so little. But over the years, it's all they ever have. The problem is their cash flow never produced or created more cash flow. Now, please understand, I'm not undermining or taking any shots at this or any group. I just see a lot of financial difficulty out there, and it really doesn't need to be that way. Creating wealth isn't a mystery, it's a formula. The only reason someone doesn't create wealth is because they either don't know the formula or they don't apply the formula. Now let's take a look at the middle class. The middle class is the group that society mistakenly thinks are rich. They're not. Yes, they typically earn a six-figure income, and many of them appear rich, but it's what they buy with their money that keeps them prisoners of the middle class. What they typically buy are liabilities. Remember the definition of a liability? Things that cost you. By buying liabilities, the money gets pushed up and out their expense column. Liabilities are items like cars, boats, houses, airplanes, credit card debt. Now let's see just how this happens. The middle class gets a nice paycheck, let's say $10,000 for the month. They then split that down the middle and they pay their monthly expenses with half, and with the other half, they make a down payment on a new car. The car costs $5,000 down, and after they add on the insurance and the maintenance, that liability now costs $1,100 new dollars every single month. A few months go by, and they want a boat. They have a vacation home, a Rolex watch on their credit card, a vacation on their credit card. And before you know it, Their liabilities have raised their expense levels to near or above their income levels. They actually spend equal to or more than they make. Meaning that they have to go to work and make a certain amount of money every single month just to cover their liabilities. The other important issue with both broke people and the middle class is that normally all of their cash flow is dependent on their own effort, meaning that they've educated themselves to exchange their knowledge and expertise for someone's money. Also, the money they earn is usually the highest taxed form of income. Here's an example. An attorney is knowledgeable about law, so people pay him or her in exchange for that knowledge on an hourly basis. The problem here is that if the attorney isn't sharing that knowledge with a client, then the attorney isn't making any money. This causes lots of stress and anxiety in their lives. And if you ever ask them to take an afternoon off to play golf with you, well, they very rarely can because of how much money it'll cost them to take that time off. On the surface, life's pretty good. The reality is that it's a roller coaster ride. That's the middle class. Now, I know this group very well because for a great deal of my adult life, that was me. Now let's take a look at how the rich people spend their money. Rich people acquire assets. Again, an asset is something that pays you. If you want to become rich, buy assets that earn you more money. The money cycle looks like this. Acquire assets that produce cash flow, invest the profits to acquire more assets that produce more cash flow, invest those profits to acquire more assets that produce more cash flow. The rich spend their money and acquire things that produce more money. Here are a few examples of assets that produce more money. Investments are the obvious ones: stocks, bonds, real estate. Education is another asset. If you learn how to do something that produces more money for you, and you actually do it, that's buying an asset. There's a great quote that goes, "If you think education is expensive, you should see how expensive stupidity is." Another example of assets you can acquire that pay you are cash-generating opportunities, especially those opportunities that can create a passive cash flow. Passive, meaning that once you build it up, the money continues to flow whether you're still building it or not. Here's a small example. Let's suppose you bought a pinball machine and you put it in a barber shop, and you don't spend any of the profits. You save them until you can buy another pinball machine and put it in another barber shop. This, by the way, was Warren Buffett's first business. If you don't know who Warren Buffett is, he's one of the top 2 richest men in America. The rich are extremely eager to find those passive cash-generating opportunities because those opportunities continue to pay them month after month, year after year, long after they've stopped working the opportunity. You know, I see this happen again and again with successful entrepreneurs. They find a passive cash flow stream that they build up, and it continues to pay them month after month, year after year. They then take those profits and multiply them in another passive cash-generating opportunity, and then again in another. In conclusion, here's what I've learned over the years. You can't find these passive cash-generating opportunities unless you're open to hearing about them. Then, once you find them, you must be willing to see what fits you and then act. Now, the reason I say this is that I once answered a hokey little ad that I ended up generating 7 figures from, simply because I answered that ad and then took action. These opportunities are out there. You just need to find them. You also must be opportunistic enough that when the right situation does present itself, you don't miss it. So remember, broke people buy stuff, the middle class buy liabilities, and the rich acquire assets. preferably cash-generating opportunities
All
that
right.
can create passive cash flow. They then
Y'all get the
take
point?
that cash flow and invest it in another asset that produces more cash flow. That's the wealth creation formula.
All right. Well, let's get down to it then, now that y'all know. I wanted to go through that because a lot of times we get so caught up into making a mistake. You know, you hear the jack of all trades, master of none, where we just want to go out and just sell something, get reps. But we got to understand the theory behind the business you own. Does this make sense? If you don't get the theory behind the business you own, then we're just going to go be doing something, and then it's like, oh, that's not working. And then you slow down. But when we are doing something, we want people to get it. Like I actually genuinely, I say it every week, want you to be wealthy, and I give you inside knowledge or inside information of where we're going so that you can see the vision, because the vision of where we're going is more important than where we are. If you get where we're going, that should give you the excitement to say, when I build this large organization, I mean, imagine if I said we are now, you know, a nationwide distributor of something that is incredible, you know, or simple as that. It wouldn't benefit you if you don't have a leveraged organization. So we want you to go out and build a leverage organization. So when we bring it, we bring it. So that's why we just sometimes put a say, get yourself a rep. Because that's what this is all about. You getting a rep, someone who's going to be there, someone, and you got to understand, it's not just Tuesday night. Tuesday, Saturday is connected. Tuesday night is where we come to celebrate and show all the work that we've been doing. But Saturday is when we get educated. In my opinion, Saturday morning is almost more important than Tuesday night. Because it's not about going to the altar, you get saved. But it's what you do after you leave the altar is what keeps you there. You get my point? So we want to get them in, and coming to a Tuesday night is just a show off. That's the, you know, I had a guy say one day that my house is just a storefront to get reps in. And I'm like, wow, I never heard that one. Huh? You know, it's funny, before you make money, they will play the game. It's like, oh, the company just flies in these rich guys and they get you sold. And then it just hit me, I'm like, people say that, but they don't say that the company's just bringing in someone who's already succeeded to show you how to succeed. It's like, you see how negative people do that? They won't say, well, they want to go show you that this guy lives in $1 million home so that he can show you how he lives in $1 million home. You know, that's the difference. You know, we want people to see how to do it. Well, you're going to be that. I tell you that because that's what ultimately you'll be going through. The minute I remember I bought my first house, the one where they got it all started. It's a 6-bedroom home, but keep in mind, let's be real. We were in a very small 1-bedroom apartment, and you're going to an almost 4,000 square foot 6-bedroom home. So after we moved in, we had a housewarming. We just had furniture in the main little living room and our bed. But that was the furniture that was in the apartment. We literally had a few people say, well, if they're doing so good, why they house empty? I wouldn't want to have a house if all the rooms are empty. And I was just like, you cannot bring broke-minded people anywhere. They couldn't see that there's room to grow, to put a bed in that room. The only thing they could see is that you're supposed to already be there. And I'm like, that's why people go to Rent-A-Center and play themselves and pay higher interest. I'm like, well, no, I'm not going to go and make bad business decisions. So for a year, in that first house, we didn't have furniture. We just had the basics in there. Because I'm like, let me get the house first. Y'all get that? You got to get a house before you can be like all this other stuff. So I got the house. Then from there, but the person that said this lived in an apartment. But I'm like, you're in an apartment, but I'm like, they had the apartment with the big screen TV mentality. And I'm like, that don't even make sense. So it's like, you want to lay out an apartment, I want to lay out a house, you know, but I want to have the room to grow. So we got to understand that we are battling a mindset. When you get yourself a rep, you're grabbing your business partner. You will, as we've talked many times, you will sit down, you will understand their dreams, their goals. And as you are now connecting with their dreams and their goals, you also have your own. What you guys are really doing for a change is actually working to accomplish real dreams and real goals. The only difference is, as I say, wake up and make the dream a reality. Once you make that dream a reality, there's nothing that can actually stop you. So that's a teammate. Because y'all get it. It's like, I know what William Lockett wants. I know what Jason Lee wants. He showed me the land, what it looks like. I see the vision. And I'm like, man, I see where the mom could stay on one part of the property. I'm like, I get it. So now I'm like, well, that's a pretty big vision. That's a lot of land. He gonna have his 40 acres in a mule, literally. But now it's a matter of, okay, then we need a business partner, we need some teammates, and we don't want A-Rods, we want to go. It's like, we don't want something that might get kicked off the team later. So that's where you're going. You want to have the vision. So you're fishing. That's what you're doing. How many of y'all like to go fishing, have been fishing before? Well, we gonna sit here, why you didn't go fishing? Yeah, I knew pretty boys didn't fish. I knew that. I didn't like that. I touched that. That's funny. I get a picture of me fishing with Chris Jourdain and the Red Lake Indian gang. And I caught the fish, but you see me doing like this, because I caught this big old northern, but they're the ones holding it. I'm like, man, get that fish away from me. But as a kid, I was out there putting the worm on the hook and everything else. But how to go fishing? Let's really think about this. Tell me what you see here. What do y'all see?
A hook.
See in the water. Yeah, a hook in the water. You see the hook. We see bubbles. The hook is sharp and it's under the water. Well, the reality is, the hook is, what is your enticement tool? Your product, your sale. That's the hook. What's going to get them in? So I can go and say, all right, well, here's my enticement tool. See, you have to be prepared to say, you know what? Boom. Sometimes you don't have to talk a lot. You're just giving your bullet points. I can just speak on this, and I can just speak about this quality prime rib. I can speak about that porterhouse. I can speak about that filet on there. And that's it. They have to see themselves being able to show their people doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, boom. It's like, okay, boom, you do the same thing. Or, let's look at this, my financial worth. This is real simple. It's like, in today's time, you must master 4 key areas. 1, tax advice return preparation, daily budget tracker, debt payoff plan, credit monitoring, and restoration. The wealthy have mastered these 4 elements. It's now time for you to do the same. Can you see yourself showing people how to master their life in these 4 elements and making money doing the same? Yeah, boom, done. So now you got them hooked. Y'all get this? Was that hard? That was maybe 30, 45 seconds of showing what I just showed you what the business was. And that's simple, but people are visual, so I gave them, like, let me get your website. I'm in front of you, bam, I don't got time for you to do that. Yeah, we got smartphones and all that, but look, when you look at that, it's like, oh, it's quality. It says this is a real company. Do you get my point? It's quality. It says this is a real company. You're representing something real. Bubbles. Bubbles mean that something is breathing there, so there's life. If you see it ain't even bubbling, people say, man, this thing's about to bubble over. Something's going on. When you see bubbles, something is moving. Sharp. Notice that the hook is sharp. Do you keep your mind sharp? Your greatest business tool is a sharp mind. All you really are doing is mastering the concepts of these 4 elements, or this right here. And from here, I don't even explain a lot. All I learn is grass-fed, that means it's good quality, no junks attitude. What? So do they have this now? Hey, no junks attitude. It's grass-fed means it's just pure organic, pure whatever. It's the best quality meat that you can put in you. I can't go into it anymore. You want me to speak about additives. How about let's not speak about it because it doesn't exist? You get my point? Mm-hmm. Then from here, it's like, well, I do good credit. I didn't ask you if you had bad credit. I said you need to monitor it to maintain. Well, I keep my budget great. Yeah, most people think they do keep a good budget. But do you pay your bills on time or ahead of time? Now, and then I'll reverse it on them. Well, yeah, I keep all that good. Well, great. That means you're going to be very wealthy because you'll do that good at explaining to other people how great you are. So, like for me being a professional smart aleck, all I'm going to do is take their words whenever they say, I don't really need the budget thing because I do good and all that. It's like, oh no, it's beyond you. Matter of fact, you don't realize how rich you're going to be because you just told me how good you are at our company. Y'all hear that? Mm-hmm. So when they get into that trying to say what they don't need, you're like, oh, do you just hear what you just said? Oh my gosh. Man, you just don't get what you just said. You see how you just pulled them in? Man, with your perfect record of doing everything right, with you being squeaky clean, you little bragger, you. You know what I mean? That's all they're really doing is, hey, I'm so great. Like, well, I tell them, I screwed it up. I needed help. Well, because you're perfect, do you know how much money that is worth to people? Do you know people will pay you to tell them how great your stuff is? Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. It's like, you really need to do this business. Now, from there is, if they go back into some other excuse, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. You just said you want to not leverage your wealth. Well, money's not that important to me. Oh, then why do you go to work? Well, I like my job. Why are you lying to me now? Sometimes you can stop, but I've been there. You do something for 17 years. It's kind of like a detective. They done been lied to so many times. So it gets to the point where they just know who's lying and who's telling the truth. You just be like, nah, you run a game. Choose a location. See, make sure to fish in water that actually has fish in it. Do not go out under the premise of we're recruiting. But ain't nobody even looking for it. The fish ain't even hungry. Mm-hmm. Like I promise you, you come out in the Legends or you go over in Bear Path or someplace where everybody is already super, super duper rich, they might look at you like, well, this sounds like a great plan. I mean, when they say they're busy, it's like, well, I've already done this in a different form, but I've done this already. I don't need it. That doesn't mean go to the poorest neighborhood either. That's just saying make sure you're fishing where people are hungry. Mm-hmm. Which is when this guy showed in that video beforehand, the middle class looks rich. That means the average neighborhood, the average person's on that middle class tier. That means there's so many people. That's why when we go in that hotel corridor and Tuesday evenings, that's why you really see so many people there. There's a lot of people there because they have the maxed out credit cards, they have the good job, they have the boat in the cabin, they have all this stuff, but they know they need an extra $300-400 more every month. They have the credit to charge $1,000 to get themselves out, and they're willing to invest in themselves. So that's the big difference. So choose your bait and your hook. My financial worth, body worth. You want to make some money? When you're out talking to people, this ain't, sitting on the phone. When you're on the phone speaking to people, that's setting appointments. Do y'all get it? It's a big difference. You're setting appointments with someone you already know. If I know Jason Lee and I just signed up in something and I'm calling Jay Lee, and I'm setting up an appointment. I'm not going to sell him this over the phone. The only way I would sell him this over the phone is if I live in Minnesota and he's in Texas. And then I might Skype something, meaning, hey man, when can you get in front of the computer? And then I'll show the presentation through Skype on the computer. Y'all get that? Okay. You can do, that's why you must have your technology game in 2013 on point. That's why I was like, we need to bring Pam Perry in so she can show you how to market things even and brand it. It's all in how you do it. Remember, you're looking sharp. So when you sharp, your mind is sharp, you have to look like where you're going, first of all. If I'm saying one day I'm going to dress like these successful guys, you know what? I got to dress like them now. That's why I always tell people, and I say it out of a humble spirit, I went to Salvation Army or Goodwill, one of them stores, and I bought me 2 suits. One was blue, one was gray. My wife had a little credit card. We went to the Baccarat when it was open in Southdale Mall, and we bought me a couple of shirts and a couple of cheap ties, and I intertwined them. If you heard before, like I'm rocking my Adidas Superstars, that's all I had was sneakers, pants, vests, hooded sweatshirts. I was a b-boy at heart. That was me. That was my style. Timberland boots, brown, light brown, camel color, snakeskin color. That was Paulie. I was sharp, but I was sharp on a b-boy level. Do y'all get my point? But once my daughter came in the world, I started looking at what kind of future I wanted. Then it hit me. It's like, people say, man, you got to keep it real. What does that actually mean? What am I keeping it real to? Actually, I wouldn't mind dressing up anyway. I wouldn't mind being sharp as a tack, as they would say. I wouldn't mind being able to say, baby, you want it, go buy it. I wouldn't mind that. You get my point? So therefore, I'm going to go and dress the part, then I'm going to live the part. And I'm make that my reality. So therefore, you step your whole professional game up to the best of your ability. A nice suit, they don't know. Only when you start really dealing in wealthy other genres and networks is when they can say that's Super Twill 120 or Super Twill 170. You know what I mean? Then they know the difference between the thread count and the suit. But other than that, the first appearance is you get it. You're gonna dress up, you're gonna make people take you serious is all you're doing. So get that. So once you have some idea of what fish you're looking to catch and what they're really eating, you can pick the right bait. Somebody may be like, you're right, people are gonna eat. And then you go ahead and say, here's your bait. Somebody's gonna say, you know what? I need to go off of life's relevancy. You gotta pay taxes. Meaning, this right here is common sense. We should have 10,000 customers on this right now. Because it's common sense to me. It's like you pay taxes anyway. Matter of fact, My Financial Service is such common sense that being in the service, being in the system and paying $29.95 a month, you will benefit more on tax breaks if you didn't do anything else. Your refund, tax refund the next year will be incredibly more. If a person said, I don't have that much money, but I'll pay $360 a year if it increases my tax return by $1,000. But people don't balance themselves to realize that it's actually benefit to be a customer. Y'all, are you hearing what I'm saying? So it's all in how you pitch it to certain ones. So to me, everybody should be there. I had a person the other day say, well, I find out I don't really need the website, I'm going to cancel. I'm like, that was the dumbest thing you just said. I saw that email said, that's all you saw was a website. You know what? This person has never come to training. Not once has this person come to training. And even when they got in, they had that, well, let me see what you guys are doing. And I'm just like, you can't respect it. A black man owns the company. You're going to see what we're doing, but you didn't. You didn't. That happens, unfortunately, in our society. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, you didn't even go to a training. You didn't even make a phone call. You didn't. I know me and William said, hey, just call us. We do it. I know we've called you and you didn't call us back. And I'm like, you just think it's a website? You're about, with some people, they don't realize that. I look at them like, you're about dumb as I thought you were. It's like, if you just have this service, if y'all hear what I'm saying, don't do nothing else and do your taxes at the end of the year. And you're so into money, as some people say they know money, but all they have is a job or jobs. I've met a lot of people with a lot of jobs lately. The tax return would be even more because you could show, hey, my coffee. Remember, if you're at Wealth Day, you can't write off the coffee, but you can buy a gift card and use that. Do y'all remember that? Not Wealth Day, but Freedom Conference. Remember that? So you learn so much. It's like, oh, so it's ways of doing things that benefit you to put more dollars in your pocket. That alone, we should be packed just on that. So, cash your line, place it in the water. So we know how we get set up and we cast it in. Some of us like to go way out there and watch it. Like me, I'll be like, this is watching because you just want to go out there. But sometimes the fish are right there on the shore in the grass. Mm-hmm. You know, if you really understand fishing, you'd be right there. But I still like just to see it. And then if you got one of them ones, you want to make it look like it's moving, and you play with the little thing, you're like, check it out. I don't know. I fished. You know, waiting for bait can take a lot of patience. You gotta sit there, do it. Sometimes you reel it in. You want to make sure your bait's still there. Like, man, is the bait there? What's going on? The fish ain't biting that day. Ain't that what's happening? You can be in one fishing spot, and the fish are just biting all crazy. Go to that same spot, and it's like the fish are like, I ain't feeling it. And it'd be like the fish swim around the bait. They looking dead at. I've seen it. I'm like, oh, look at all the fish coming. They swim. I pull the bait out. I want to blame the bait. Ain't that what we do? I'm like, I want to blame the bait. I'm like, man, maybe this ain't good bait. It's like, no, maybe the fish just ate and they full. They don't know. Most people wait to a crisis to happen. Then they decide they want to make money. We have to learn to speak to people, to touch that intelligent bug in them, so that they'll say, you're right. Don't wait till all hell is breaking loose to do something. Do it now. It's like I tell people, we know Christmas is coming, right? Do y'all understand that? Do not. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to see nobody cancel their service come December. All this happens as a business owner. I see it every year. It's like, well, brother, I have to cancel. You know, Christmas is coming, this and that. I'm like, did you just say that to me? It's like, did you read any of the books? Will you actually listen when I'm speaking anywhere? We know Christmas is coming. It's August 3rd, 2013. On December 25th, 2013, Christmas is going to be here. You're now aware, right? Mm-hmm. So what would you do if you really look at your kids? You act like it's Christmas now. You start saving now. If it's layaway, you go put that stuff on layaway now. You make plans now. Then people will be like, at the end of the month, oh, you know, we got to get kids to school. You knew kids was going back to school. It's like, I got to take my daughter down to Boston. I know that. It's already set. That is not even a thought, my mindset of I need to get money to take her down there. Do y'all get, all I'm talking about is daily budget tracking and planning. When you plan yourself and schedule yourself for success, stuff doesn't surprise you. The things that surprise you should actually be a surprise. You know what I mean? Some of the stuff that people act like is a surprise, I'm like, well, I don't get it. You knew the rent was due on the first. Why are you acting surprised? The surprise is when the transmission in your Range Rover go out. Then you like, I ain't gonna play. You ain't in my budget this month. Put in the garage. That's a surprise. You get that? But anniversary, that's not a surprise. A birthday, that's not a surprise. Christmas, that's not a surprise. Do y'all get this? Mm-hmm. We have to be intelligent minded, and it's all based on this service. So when you're speaking to people, waiting for a bite can take a lot of patience. As you're waiting, pay attention. Know what's going on, how the wind is blowing, you know, what's happening around you. Know this. To the reactions, movement on the line, the whole nine. Know, you know, when you're really fishing, how that bobble's under, you know, you got something in. You're like, oh. And it's when you, I don't know about y'all, but when you fishing, you sitting there and you watching that thing intensely. And then all of a sudden it's like, you know how it is, you like, and then you're like, oh. And it's always, if you fish with somebody, wait, don't yank on it yet. Don't yank on it yet. You know what to do, but they want to tell you, oh, hold on, don't yank on it yet. And then it'll go on, get it. And then you yank that bad boy up, and then you see that arc on that pole. Ooh, it don't matter if it's a little sunfish. It don't matter. At that point, game on, huh? The adrenaline pumps, you excited, you look at everybody else like, I got me. I got these people. You know what I'm saying? You doing your thing, you can catch that, and then you look at it, you hold it up like, look what I did, look at that. You know what I mean? And if it gets away, it was the big one. Right? We know this stuff, so it's just put it in real life. Real practical form. It's what you're gonna do. Hook that fish. Once you feel a tug on a line, you'll want to set your hook. Sometimes it can be difficult to tell if you have a bite or if you're just feeling the current of, or a fish bumping into the bait. Sometimes it's debris hitting it. Sometimes it's like, yeah, I'm interested, but I don't know. Because some people don't make decisions. Only practice and experience can help you get the real feel for it. That's why I now can sit down with a person. Remember me and Jay Lee did a presentation with a young lady. We're talking to her. Next thing you know, I just closed my computer and shut it down. I was like, all the signs said she's not doing it. You get that? So I understand what he was doing. He started breaking her off some more. And then she was like, yeah, I want to do it. And he looked at me like, yeah, she wants to do it. And I was like, she'll do it. So we open the computer up. We go ahead and sign her up. You know, people know how to work a computer, but they all of a sudden get amnesia. She doing it. So what do I do in my shield? We go ahead and we basically what I call railroad her into the business. So when we left, me and Jason, I said, she don't want to do it, man. She ain't gonna do nothing. I said, she's probably gonna ask for a refund. The next day, email sent to corporate. I realized I'm not gonna have the time to do this, and I thank everyone, refund. And then that's why I just forwarded it to Jay Lee. I was like, look, man, see, told you. But what is it? It's just experience. Whenever a person is talking during the presentation, shut it down. Every word you say, yeah, because this is not, you're not listening. And what I've learned is every time I've done those presentations where they're playing Mr. Me Too, or I know somebody is like, yeah, because people need better credit and this and that. You're just like, next slide. This one guy we met with, he was like, yeah, because I used to do this other company, this and that. And he said the name of the company, and I was just like, still ain't listening. And I said, well, that company, I said, hold on. So I Googled the name of the company. I said, that company went out of business, so you sure you do that company? Oh, yeah, it's been a while ago. I'm like, shut up and listen, man. That's how you feel like you don't ever do that. But you shut up and listen. I'm sitting there trying to show you something real, something good, and you tell me about something that the Fed shut down and that you do that business. And I'm like, this ain't that. You see? But through experience, you be like, shut it down. They ain't gonna do it. So people who are going to do it, they need their Wallace Franklin. They look at it. They'll ask an intelligent-based question that's usually forward-moving because they're usually thinking about how they can actually build this business. So it may say, well, when I go speak to people, what do I say? And you say, good question. What I want you to do is I want you to, if you don't mind, let me speak to them for you. Okay, so you'll do, we're a team. We do this together. I want you to brief me on who they are so I don't, be selling this way because you know them, I don't. They're going to trust you, but they'll respect what I'm saying because they trust you. Y'all get that point? But when it's like, well, what if they don't do it? Well, that's a dumb question. I mean, you want me to just have a negative conversation? I mean, what if you don't make it to the bathroom on time? What happens? Right? See, I'm a professional smart aleck. I actually got to the point where I had to stop doing presentations because when people would hit me with a dumb question, I would reply back, letting them know that I know that was a dumb question. It's like, well, because all the people I know, it's like, really? What do you mean, all the people you know? What you mean? I didn't know you before today. So how is it that way? You knew this guy who introduced you to me, and I've been doing this, and I've done very well. So you are now one step, when you look in your LinkedIn account or something like that, those who are on LinkedIn or social networking site, it'll say how many generations you are from that person. One level connected, meaning you knew them directly, or you, 3 other people know them in between this person, this person, but you guys have connected that you do something similar. So now they say you guys have a similar trait here. Y'all get that? Mm-hmm. So you learn certain stuff and you're just saying, okay, well, either you're going forward with your questions or you're going backwards with your questions. That's why when you're doing a business meeting, you have to pay attention to them, regardless, and it's why when y'all ever see like Mario do the etiquette training, whatever, he's saying do not speak to your guest during the meeting Because number one, we're looking at your guests and reading your guests. It just may not look like it. So if you turn around, like, watch this part. We're now looking at you like, will you shut up? You interrupted a meeting and the person behind you keeps seeing you going, they don't know what you're saying, but it looks like they don't know what. So you're so anxious, like, come on, you gotta do it. I remember it was a rep that would turn to look at her guests, and every now and then she'd still, I ain't seen him in about a year. You know, Della, you remember Della? I'm just gonna pick up. Della would turn to look at him like, and she'd be like, you hear what he said? Did you hear what he said? I'd be like, Della, stop doing that. And then look at you like, I know you ain't dumb. You heard what he said. He said, you're gonna make money. You know, she would do like that. And it would throw me off when I start chuckling because I was like, quit doing it. Because if I was her guest, I'd be like, what? Like, look at me like that. Was crazy. It's like, cause she just, no, that's why I brought you. You know, but I get it. She's so on, like, listen to what he's saying. He's so on point. But you have to show your own pointness in agreement with the speaker. They're going to look at that and say, okay, Fred seems to agree with this guy. Let me pay attention. What is Fred really agreeing with? Sharonda seems to agree with this guy. Let me pay attention because she's really into this. So what y'all so into? Let me pay attention to him too. You see the way that works? Mm-hmm. So now they're receiving the information because we're presenting to them, and you guys are also a part of the presentation. Be confident when closing the deal, reeling in the fish. More fish are lost to loose lines than anything else. Mm. Loose lines is giving them too much information. Mm. Talking too much. Can't shut up. When I drank that water, that was a part of the presentation. I had to swallow and I couldn't say anything else. Some of you need to have some water or some kind of drink. So when you say a certain line, you pause. You ready? See that? You want to say more, but you keep it simple. It's like, why? Because you want to pull that fish in. You want to pull that person in. But it ain't by, oh, they're hesitant. Let me give them more line. No, you're giving them more excuse. Mm-hmm. So a loose line provides an opportunity for your fish to throw the hook right out of its mouth. When it's a tight, because it's loose now, they can fix it in there and kick it out. But when it's a tight line, they can't regroup. It's like, oh man, it's just, I get it. Nothing, I can't see nothing else. I can't see no exit on this. You know, it may sound crazy, but it's the truth. It's like, boom, close that person, get them in, have yourself so sharp, be so tight with your information, be so focused on it that they can't see any other way out. But the difference is you're saving them. You're helping them. Using a net for this purpose is very effective to get the fish under control. It's like, use your upline, your supporting cast, your Tuesday night meetings, your conference calls, your business partners, and the community. Use all of that to your advantage. See, you have so much to your advantage that it's just a matter for you to do it. So when we look at the bare principle of this, you are a customer. You get that? We'll say, yeah, you're a rep, you're all this and that. But you are, and I'm just going to say, my financial worth. You are a my financial worth customer. That's it. Mm-hmm. All you're doing is you're saying, hey, let's bring on 3 other people who will be my financial worth customers. That's it. Well, from that, this represents money, represents money, represents money. All this combined, you take this right here, with that, it all equals money to you. Every month after month. If we say, block that, be so sharp, be so focused, that you build a community, you build a community that is so close-knit, so focused. There are people who got in the business this week. Like, I looked them in the eye and said, okay, you're getting in this week. I spoke to one on the phone. Be at training Saturday. I'm curious to hear what the excuse is going to be and why they did not come to training today. Because what I do know online, yes, some say I watch online, but every now and then it flutters. You can't really see the screen that good. You know, this right here, you may not get it. And you got to be able to feel my little shake right there. I'm going to shake it up a little bit. You got to feel that. But online, it might have just said Zoom. You know what I mean? Because it's the digital world. But if we're doing this right, and you say, man, all you're doing, Fred, is these three individuals on a service to master them to become wealthy. You're automatically on, and they do it. All we're doing is working on those three. If they were to follow directions, as we say per week to do it, this still represents, because when you add everything together, I'm just going to round up and say $6,000 a month. $6,000 a month cash is the equivalency of making almost $110,000, $115,000 a month a year at a job. It amazes me that people will say, pay me 6 figures a year and I will work 50 hours a week for you or more. Take my work home. But that same hourly rate, or that same hourly time, not rate, they don't put it to their own business to leverage themselves. So we must get that leverage income, meaning when you're working on a leverage system, that's what the My Financial Worth service or the Body Worth ordering does. It's leveraging you. We on the same page here? Mm-hmm. I want you to get that, because I know it's kind of getting hot in here, so I don't want nobody to slip. It is leveraging you. So when I do this, I'm like, wow, the average JMG rep that gets it, at least leaders, should be at least half that a month. That's not counting the bonus money. That's not counting the lifestyle budget. That's not counting the free trip. That's not counting the Escalade. Y'all get my point? That's just saying get that much going on and that's it. So decide if you're catching and releasing or keeping the fish. Every now and then, you got to get a little fish. Thank you, Brother Wallace. Y'all, if y'all didn't know, that's Brother Wallace right there. Look at him, Quincy Jones in the house.
I want you to pause.
Thank you very much. He's listening. Decide if you're catching them or whatever. Some fish will not be the leaders you would have expected them to be. For me, I know I like, some of y'all leaders may not get it, but some of you may have heard me come up to you and say, hey, Eric, bring up another alone. Like Jay, there's been a few people who like got in the business, I'm seeing them like, hey, Jay, what? It's like, and all it is I'll shake their hand, have a little conversation with them, and the minute they start telling me, a business owner, about their day job, come on, what did they just, they're defending their job. Mm-hmm. Not a single person in my life who was successful came saying, you know, because of my job, you know, I'm a supervisor in management of my job, so they have me so busy. And I'm like, you're selling me on why your job is important. I get it. I'm not bashing your job. So I'll tell them, it's like, well, I'm trying to get you off there. Well, I don't mind the work. Thank you, brother. Good. God bless. Get it. You know, it's like, we're not here for that. We're just saying, hey, do you want more? Do you get that? So it's really in listening. You know, some people will tell you how busy they are, and I'm begging them. They don't even get it. I'm like, well, you can use it in this time. You can do this. I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm busy. I'm like, they don't realize that the only thing I'm hearing them say is they're too busy to actually become a millionaire. Hmm. And I'm like, I don't want just to sign you up and have you this be like a hobby or something you do. I actually want you to be productive. You know what I mean? I want you to actually make the money. It's like, when we start creating millionaires, and it's documented, do y'all know how the game's gonna change for you? It's like, whoa, folks be like, man, Jason Lee done made $1 million in that thing. Everybody else who actually knew you beforehand, be like, wow, they gonna say, well, he was always a hustler, you know. Wallace ain't gonna say, well, he's Dr. Wallace Franklin. You get what I'm saying? Some are gonna justify your success by your own work ethic, which is rightfully so. But some will see that as a testimony to where they can be, and they will appreciate you for actually doing the due diligence to succeed, and they'll follow those footsteps. Those are the ones you're looking for. So don't allow them to weigh you or your team down. When people come to the meetings and they're not dressing the protocol, like I would never dress this way at a Tuesday night. You get my point? It's like, no, I'm dressing up. It's like on a Saturday training, I tell everybody, Saturday training, I don't care if you jump fresh out the bed, Sharonda, you got your curlers on, I'm gonna look at you funny. You know what I'm saying? Then you can say, I made it, because this is to increase your mind. But don't show up to no Tuesday night like that. Tuesday night, we are a group of individuals who have a net worth. You must have a net worth mentally before it happens to you financially. Your mind is always worth something first. If your inner being and your mind and your thoughts are worth something, people will see the value in that, and in return, your finances will become of value. Does this make sense to you? Mm-hmm. Repeat the process. Check your line for damage, and then rebait your hook and keep reeling them in. Why? When you get that one in, it's just a little fish that just won't stop. You got to say, hey, you know what? You keep interrupting the speakers when they're talking. Y'all know, y'all been in meetings where you get people, and I even be like, why are you raising your hand? I just ask them, like, don't say your hand to the, because I already know it's like, you know, yeah, because most people, this ain't one of those most people things. This is, we know how it's made, take notes, and most people do that are not taking notes, y'all watch. Watch, if you're at a meeting and somebody want to talk, you got to ask them, why aren't you taking notes? Because they're know-it-alls. You can never tell a know-it-all anything. Why? They know it all. Or they're like Mr. Me Too. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I know someone. Have you been around people that they always know somebody? It's like, I had a family member of mine, it's like, they're telling me when I bought $1 million home, they're telling me about a friend of theirs' cousin who bought $1 million home. And I'm like, so have you been to theirs? I'm like, because family members, they know I'm too. Have you actually been to theirs? It's like, what made you bring up your cousin's friend? I said, yeah, because they do that. I'm just saying, because people buy that. I said, but yeah, you don't know them. You heard about them. You come over to my house right now. Call them and tell them you want to come over at any point in the night. Call me at 1 o'clock in the morning. And if you not, even if you knocked on the door, I'd open the door and say, what's wrong? But I'm gonna let you in. You get my point? Like, no, what's wrong, Carlos? You all right? But you sitting there talking about somebody else's stuff? Well, what they're doing is they're in denial of appreciation of your success. You have to receive that and move on, because they're always going to talk about, that ain't nothing, this person did it too. That's really what they're saying. You know where you're going, check your line for damage, and then rebait your hook, keep reeling them in. You may need to resharpen your mind, your skills, and your conversation. At that point, that's why we have wealth days. So I give everybody one of these big ones. These are just nice. I don't know where Bertha at, friend. Get on Wallace. You need to call Bertha, because I really know that when I do stuff like this, Bertha be like, give me all of them. Then she don't be here. Y'all tell Bertha I'm talking about her too. But the whole point is, wealth day. What is the point of this? I'm going to just go over this, because you got to sharpen your mind, including me. If you don't think, I don't idolize any person on here. I'm going to repeat this. I don't idolize people, period, but I do study them. Dr. Randall Pinkett, winner of season 4 of The Apprentice with Donald Trump. Dr. Pinkett is a scholar, entrepreneur, speaker, best-selling author, and community servant. You do not win The Apprentice unless you are one bad dude. Let's just, sometimes you got to just think about it. That just, so what do? I put my respect level where it belongs. I'm like, you know what? Donald Trump is actually a jerk. Not in a negative sense, but in a business sense. You cannot jerk him around. You know, he is just like, no, don't. It's like when you are a billionaire and you do business on that level, you guys got to understand, they don't tolerate the stuff we would tolerate. So even me on my little level, I will listen to people more than a billionaire would actually listen to them. And you hear me say when a minute person is not on the conversation, when they're off message, I walk off. A billionaire won't even give them the time to even get in that situation. It's like, you know what? You need to qualify yourself to get there. Y'all get that? Well, if this guy won the thing and worked directly with the guy and his staff, who in their right mind? We should be, for 45 or 55 bucks, we should be able to have the entire event with Dr. Randall Pinkin. Does that make sense? When you understand value. This is why you got to have your speaking points, remember? Speaking points. Tools, speaking points. Tools, speaking points. So, Fit, Fine, and Fabulous. Best-selling author of Fit, Fine, and Fabulous, Dr. Laureen Wisham. This woman is cold, in shape, and all. 60 years of age. Wallace is going to be on it. She is fit, she is fine, and she is fabulous, and she is a millionaire. First of all, if you have not did something to impress me, I promise you, you will not be a speaker at Wealth Day. You have to have had some kind of substantial, I won't take people who can just speak good. You know, it's good speakers right here in Minneapolis. Folks that can actually talk really good, outspeak me. But then it's like, well, what did you do besides talk? How did you even turn that talk then? If all you're doing is talking, how did you turn that to $1 million? You didn't. Then that tells me there's a character flaw somewhere behind the scenes. Do y'all get that? Because you can't just talk your way to the top. You can talk yourself into millions, but usually they lose it. So, Fit, Fine, and Fabulous, Dr. Laureen Wisham. She's the Women's $1 Million Solutionist. We should have 500 women who are serious about success show up just to see her. This woman is cold. This guy, Paul D. Jones, we're gonna go there. Famous Dave, the largest barbecue restaurant chain in the world. Grew up on an Indian reservation, poor. Do y'all hear me? He is also a Harvard Business School graduate. So for all of my native friends, do not make another excuse another day of your life around me, because I'm just gonna be like, hey, Dave did it. And his company's worth $500 million. And he's from here and he's humble. He was humble that I asked. You know, and I'm just like, man, can I get one of them ribs to dinners now? The Famous Dave, it's like founder of Famous Dave's restaurant. Dave is highly sought after keynote speaker. And as he shares intimately with his audience the secrets of success with passion, energy, and enthusiasm, the man is cold. Greg Davis, better known for those in the Christian and the church world as Bishop Greg Davis. The man can sing. He's got a book out called How I Did It. You know, I was on his TV show. He's just a really overall good guy. You'll meet a lot of folks who are just kind of religious, hocus pocus, you know, they're going to backbite or talk about somebody else. No, he was just genuine. He was just real. And he's going to come, and I bet you he sparked that room. Y'all, that's all I've got to say. That's also Bishop Greg Davis. Watch. He going to let that room on fire. And the TV crew and all of that will be there. So some of you will be on his TV show. You know, but I mean, Bishop Greg, he's inspiration to me. He's a real slim dude now. The guy lost almost 100 pounds. He used to be a big chunky dude. You know, the doctor said, you might have diabetes, you may have this, you may have that. He's like, put the panties on that. I ain't doing that. You know, cover that. That's a street term. I'm sorry, y'all. You know, but it's like, it's there. Pam Perry, branding consultant, social media, PR guru. Pam Perry is just a dynamite woman, but it's also You see a lot of folks, but you need that person behind the scenes who are the ones making sure that they're connected socially, connected to the PR world. She is the know-how lady. She's the go-to lady. People in the industry respect her. There's a lot of folks right here in the city who say they want to do things. This lady's done it. And I purposely had this guy last, J. Alexander Martin, co-founder and president of the iconic clothing line FUBU, who graced the stage at Wealth Day. In addition to his many clothing lines, Mr. Martin manages several nonprofit organizations and runs a prestigious consulting firm. Those guys, him and the other guy you see on Shark Tank, it was like they just said, you know what, let's do it. Literally, they were selling hats at first. So you see all these guys that's out in the streets selling this, selling that. They were no different. But it was something different about how they went about it. And there was a professionalism there and an integrity base there. So people took them serious. Next thing you know, their company's worth over 400 million. Dr. Peake did a $50 million contract with the federal government this last year. So between him, myself, Dr. Wisham, there's $1 billion in the room. Y'all get this? So we just have to make sure, because this is technically hosted by us. When a year ago, I sat down with William, and first I was going to say we're going to have freedom conferences around the country. And then I said, but that may be so connected to JMG, people will just get one way or the other. And I'm like, but I own a name Wealth Day too. So we're going to have a day where people just all come together to build their wealth. But it's going to be put on by the JMG Network distributors. We were supposed to actually be having one in Atlanta, Georgia right now because Marquise Williams, who I'm going to put on the spot, didn't do what he's supposed to do in ATL. We're going to have it here. Now what? What are we going to do next month then? Money Mike. I love Money Mike, y'all, but I do. I love that brother for real, though. Some people say they love you and they won't say nothing to you. I don't even like those people around me. My daughter loves me. I walk out now sometimes and she'll say, Dad, what do you have on? She loves me and she knows we connected. She don't want me out here looking foolish because that's her image too. You get my point? Right. So that's why I love Jay Lee. I'm like, Jay, you gotta do this, man. If you're gonna do it, you gotta, why? Because people are watching you. Y'all get that? Brother Fred, at this rate, I can't let you quit. If you wanted to, I'll show up to your door and say, Fred, you got too many people that are close to you who don't believe you're gonna make it. They'll put it off like, well, that's just William Bay. But William on the mic house, I'm gonna watch. Fred is gonna make it. Why? Because I'm gonna give him advantage points. You get this? Sharonda, you've been here every week. For real though, right? Right. You gotta make it because this is from people connected to you to sit back like, she wasting her time with you brothers. It's like, but she's with some people who can put Wealth Day in her lap. And then you know you get to come for free. You get that? All y'all was here last week too. All the people that was here, they get to come for free. Y'all gonna help out. No, this is a big event. We're gonna have to coordinate. We're gonna need event coordinators the whole nine to make this fly. But more importantly, I have a bigger vision, and I want to fill this room with 1,000 people. I want the speakers to respect this as Wealth Day, and I want to pay them. The first time around, I just kind of did it. So this time, when they came with the number, I said, yeah, no problem. Let's do it. You know what I mean? I put my little change in. Then from there, I would say, hey, Brother Locke, you gonna back me? Like, yeah, okay, cool, I'm gonna do it. That's how I would. That's why I give him respect because he goes a little beyond and says, well, no, it's a great idea, let's do it. But from there is, we don't want to spend a whole bunch of money in the wrong places. And with technology today, online and all that, we just got to get people going. We got one ticket. I'll tell you that. The first person to buy a ticket was Miss Patricia Welch. Congratulations, Patricia. Now it's up to us, because these are the first flyers we had anyway, so of any sort that markets the thing. And today, the stuff went up on the Wealth Day site. Go on your Facebook. If you're on Facebook, get on, get connected to folks, but then get it to your friends and family and all that so that they can get it. But the whole point is, you may need to resharpen your mind, your skills, and your conversation. In other words, you're making yourself more valuable. Y'all get this? That's what we're doing. So get yourself a rep. which is business partnership. Y'all get that? That's what we're doing now. Prepare the nets. We got to go in this a little more detail now. You know, tier the nets. You do realize that the fish are in the water, right? So when people say, well, I don't think people know how to do this or want to do this, I'm like, what did you just say? No, hear what they really just said. That's why I don't even try to sell them. I said, oh, you don't want to do this? They're like, no, I'm just saying people. I said, no, people do want to do this. But why would you say that? So you must not want to do this. If you, I've done this many times. People, well, no, but I mean, it's like you're not even listening. That's my point. People don't want to be bothered with this. I'm like, no, that's you. You're speaking for people who you don't know. I'm doing this, and I'm a person. You just said I wouldn't want to do this. I'm doing this because why? They're already dead. Y'all get my point? The minute somebody says, "You think people really want to do this?" They are questioning their own ability to do this, and they're putting it off on other people. That's how people do that. You know, it's the old "I have a friend who has a problem" kind of conversation, knowing it's actually them. Number one, get in the water. They don't float to the top. Fish. Only time a fish floats at the top is when?
You're dead.
When it's dead. So dead people gonna always be like, I need to make some money, right in your face. You're like, for real, get home. Think about that. Dead people like, what y'all doing now? It's like, we've always been doing the same thing. I'm ready now. It's like, oh, you dead. You know, I'm not saying don't sign them up, but you have to really have a conversation of action first. And I'll tell people all the time, because people will come directly to me, and I'll tell them, it's like, well, you know, I won't be there doing the presentations for you every day as I have the company to run. I'm actually a pretty busy person. Little do you know, it's like I schedule everything in my life. So if you're saying you want me to do it, nah, you should have did that in the beginning days. Now I'm on a different thing. But I'll come every now and then. But I tell you what, I'll be there Tuesday. You gonna come Tuesday? Oh man, this Tuesday I got this going on. And if it has something separate from kids and church, it's hard for me to really hear it. You know, I understand some people work in the evenings, but that's why we have the go do it in a day. You know what I mean? There's nothing saying a leader goes and sets a meeting up for all those that work at nights and meet up. You can come up here. You know, I'll call a hotel and be like, hey, let's set up on Monday noon and put some food in here. Think about how we could do that if people were really serious. Like that pause. They do not greet you up on a sandbar. Mm-mm. Fish don't do that. In fact, the ones on a sandbar are the ones that are already dead. We have to be mindful. Remember, you're in the people business, right? You know, you have to go and explain to people the value of why I said we should be able to have this event with just me and Dr. Pinkett, and a person should be able to pay $55 or more. And it could be literally from 9 to 12. Just 3 hours, and if they were that serious. So people can't go through life. Because we don't, if those who were at Wealth Day before, we don't give a JMD Network presentation. We don't do that. You know, I'll speak on hints of my financial worth and show people how to better their credit and do all of that, and then tell people that they can go and sign up. You know, now when they want to go and sign up, that's a representative may have their laptop there, meaning you have to have your own laptop there with your own wireless service. So they'll be coming up to me or Miss Shelley or somebody else and be like, the internet's not working, figure it out. You get my point? You're the business owner. You get what I'm saying? People act like business owners like, well, can you do everything for me? It's like, no, you're not a baby, you're the leader. And you have to have it figured out for your reps. So if that means call the hotel and say, hey, I need an internet pass for the day, that's $100 on me. You get that? You don't have to do that, just get a hotspot, and William has one too, but you get my point of view, taking initiative. So from there is, it could be a table with just 3 or 4 reps, and they could be in shifts. That means somebody may come up and want to turn on my financial service. Don't. This is how you mess it up. If you talk to them about being a rep, you just spooked them. So you have a My Financial Worth booth that's talking to them about their credit, their daily managing, and that. And if they have a question, get this, here's my card, give me a call. You get that? Mm-hmm. Because they're there just for whatever reason. Now, think about it. They're now your customer on My Financial Worth. You can speak to them later. hey, if you want to make money offering this service, we are looking for a few more people. If not, take the customer and roll on. See how that works? So you're setting it up to win for yourself to get customers. Leadership reminders. No entrepreneur is an island. You can't just sit there. You're created to work with others in a positive environment. Islands jump, fall on islands. Gilligan land on the island. Anything happens at an island. Once you sit there, it's just the stuff, whatever the wind blows, lands on the island. The island has no control of what's going to be on it. You get my point? You just don't want to be an island. You want to be a movement. You want to be flowing with the current. So your business success depends on you attracting customers and team members with whom you work well together with. You want that. So from there, the key to leveraging these relationships is to become the kind of person that you want to attract into your business life. You should be someone who you would want to be. So if you look and say, okay, you know what, I like the way this person dresses, I like the way this business person looks, I'll tell you how my beginning look came from. When I worked at Rick and Mark Cadillac and Volvo in Denver on Broadway, when I worked there, I would look at the salesman of the Cadillac, because Cadillac and Volvo together, it's kind of a bougie type area anyway. And it was just one of these sales guys. It's like his shoes were just like, those are solid shoes. When he walked, it was just like, clunk, clunk. I'm like, but it was like the real leather bottoms, like wood, just nice, well cut, groomed shoe. It's like I would see him, his shirt and tie, everything was crisp. I would see him getting his shoes shined in there because they had a shoe shine guy in there too. I would see him there reading the paper, and this guy was sharp. Now I'm just a young college cat, and I'm like, he looked like he owned the place, and he was a sales guy, but he was also the top sales guy. Why? Because when he went in, when people walked in there, he attracted them. You know, he spoke firm, looked like money. You know what I mean? This guy did his thing. So I was like, you know what? His cuffs were nice, full break. So when I went did my thing, I started getting my pants cut like that. I'm like, okay, cool. When I got shoes, I didn't get shoes with rubber bottoms. You need shoes that you can replace the bottoms. Yeah, that's how you know you got a good quality shoe. If you wear that shoe down, that back heel start wearing down, you can't replace rubber, that's gone. You gotta replace the entire shoe, right? But when you can take it, because you got a quality shoe, to the shoe repair man and say, put another heel on here. All they're doing is they're taking that wood and they're recarving it, redoing it to match the shoe, boom. So all those little intricate things I had to learn. I learned about dressing. I learned. No one taught me. I just went, started studying that literally in the Apple Valley Library. It's right next to the courthouse there. If you ever go to Apple Valley, IHOP is across the street. I would tell my wife I'm out working. I would go to the library and just pull books on etiquette and just learn, because it's like, my mother raised me right, don't get me wrong, but I had to learn the etiquette of the English and how the place settings and this and that. I wanted to know it all. I refused to be ignorant. That was just my reality. I refuse. It's like people be like cracking jokes about it, and I do it too. But I was like, you might want to, oh, you got the water, you all right? Okay. So you gotta educate yourself. So in spare little time, that's what I tell people. I don't just sit. I study. I study people. I study stuff. So I started studying how to dress, what fashion was, everything. I didn't have a mindset to want to be in fashion, and still don't. So that won't happen. But I had to understand the value of fashion, understand how to dress. Then I started studying the Rockefellers and the Kennedys and their stories of how they created wealth. I needed to know that for myself, because I knew that it's like, hey, if I'm gonna do something, I gotta go all the way. So now when I speak to people, everyone looks and says, man, it seems like Paul Jones knows a lot. No, man, from basically 1997 to this day, I just studied wealthy people, wealthy conversations, studying emotions, not getting emotional over stuff. You know, I'm a different person today than I was 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I just cut you off and walk off like, man, please, you broke. Because I would know that today, it's like, what that game telling that dude he broke? Nothing. So I stopped doing it. You know what I mean? It's like you just start educating people. And then, you just have fun. So Consider these questions in shaping yourself to attract positive business partners and clients. 1. What are my core values? Those character traits that I want to exhibit in my business relationship. Each one of us has a core value. You must be known by what you value. If you value junk, that's what it's going to look like. I value people's lives. That's why a person going to research and see that I sent all these kids to college. Because it's like, hey, some say what they'll do when they get the money. I got the money and did it. You get the point? That's not saying give me kudos. That's saying that's my core value. It was, when I was here, the same as like, I said I was going to buy my mother a Cadillac when I got paid. Well, guess what? I bought my mother a Cadillac. I said I would pay my mother's house off when I got paid. Guess what? I paid my mother's house off. You get the point? That's your core value. You know, I'm not known for doing confused individual stuff. It's like, why? When those confrontations come up, I usually step out. Y'all on the same page? It's a core value. What is your core value too? What would my family members say my core value is? Be honest with yourself. You created that character trait. You did that, no matter what. To me, what they say about me, I'm Mr. Big Bucks. They go to rich man. So my core value, in some cases, and yours will too, intimidate them. That's what I realized. That's what it is. Like I think about one of my sisters right now. It's like, man. Likewise, you realize that there's haters. When the recession hit, it hit for us too. So I'm like, oh man, it's not the same. Times are tough. I knew it wasn't gonna last. You didn't do nothing your whole life, and you saying you knew it wasn't gonna last? I'm like, nothing lasts forever. But we reinvented ourselves and kept going. But what did you do? You get my point? Because your core value will come out in tough times. Right. In tough times, you're going to work harder. Remember when I said that engine? You set it on cruise control, you're going up a hill, you hear the engine work harder. When you want to go faster, the engine works harder. Those are simple mechanics, but it's physics, it's life. It relates. You must be mindful of that. For lights to come, these lights aren't flickering. That means there's the same consistent, constant current going through the same light bulb. You yourself then, because that's a law. Remember I taught you a few weeks ago, everything's a number. Everything's a number. It's a law that everything consists by a certain rate. So you, if you want to be successful at this rate, you can't be the next day down here. You can't. Doesn't matter if your spirit feels down here, you have to put yourself up here. Y'all was there when I talked about bootstrappers and all that. You gotta put yourself up there like the bootstrappers and go for it anyway. Strap your boots up and go do it yourself because nobody else is trying to support you. That's what it is. 3, what are my life priorities? Those matters in life that I consider most important, not just in word, but in work behaviors as well. A lot of people talk about success and what they'll do, and I've heard people lay out great plans, but they don't implement them. Did y'all understand last week when I said just recruit 3 people a day? They didn't say put 3 people in the business a day. Now, only you can go and grade yourself from last Saturday to today and say, do I have 21 new prospects? If you can honestly say, yes, I got 21 new prospects, then I can honestly say at least one of them will show up Tuesday night or meet you somewhere. Probably more than one. But if you know you didn't get the 21 prospects for the week, you must audit your schedule and audit you, period, and say, how do I know the formula to success and then not even apply it? In that video, the guy says, some people know the formula and they just don't either apply it, and he said, or others don't know it. So we got to be mindful that we are the ones that actually live life knowing the formula. But if you go to an area where you know those fish aren't hungry, and it's funny, The fish that should be the hungry, listen to me now, I'm giving you something good. The fish that should be the hungriest, the ones that always say I'm on my grind trying to work and get this money, are the least productive. I repeat that. The fish who you go around, who every time you see them, man, I'm busy, I'm on this grind, I'm getting this money, man, I'm getting this paper. Because I know something like that, they are the least productive. It's like every time you talk to them, they're talking about money. But that's what they do. They like to talk about it. But they're not actually getting anything. Then when you bring them something, they're going to sit back and say, oh man, that means you got to go do all of this. Yeah, work. See, I'm a guy who worked at Taco Bell for 10 years also, which means I would also work at McDonald's, Pizza Hut, KFC, you know, the newer franchises from Chipotle to Five Guys, you name it, I would have done it then. That didn't bug me. I knew I had to make money, but making money just got me the resources to do the things that I wanted to do. So question 4, what is my unique contribution to make in the world, though my business, or through my business, and how do I live in it daily? At this point, you should all be experts on the 4 elements of wealth. You are not becoming an expert just to say, now I'm gonna go to school and get a financial degree and all that. No, you become an expert because you yourself, a rep should never have a 5-point or 10-point problem, because I promise you 10 people want credit repair. I promise you 10 people want credit monitoring. I promise you 10 people have a tax issue. It means you didn't go and talk to enough people to say, I need to be on this service, man, to get my credit together. Mm-hmm. You get that? This system, I look at it, we almost made it, and every now and then I still play with the thought of saying 20 My Financial Worth customers to be qualified as an executive senior director. But do y'all know what that would actually mean? Who has a calculator or a smartphone? Somebody gonna get it out. Let's go. Let's do it. Take 2187. If we do it like how we do the 5, or I mean, does everybody have one? Where I got that 6,000 number. You take 2187 times 20 My Financial Worth customers, which would be say $29.95 or $30 to keep it simple, but $29.95 if you want the accurate number. So we got 2187 times 20 times 30 bucks.
Times 20 times 30 bucks.
Yep.
Okay.
Times 7% or 0.07.
0.07 equals 91,791.
91791. That is over $1 million a year. I sit up here every week and I say, I'm gonna show you how to become a millionaire. If we wanted to show it that way, we could have a meeting every Tuesday. And then I could say, this is how you make 100,000 money. You know, executive senior directors build up, you get that. And that's not even executive senior director. That's if a regular rep did it, period. If you went senior director, you get 2% more. You went executive senior director, you get 2% on top of that 2%. You are a multi-millionaire at that rate. So you're clearly, because that was one level, that all the other levels is going to get you 100,000 a month anyway. Does this make sense to you? So when I say we all should be experts just at our service, you'll be an expert at just saying, keeping it simple. It's like, hey man, it's grass fed. It's quality. It's no junk added. That's it. But man, because you know some of these places, hey man, I'm in a people business. I just know this. When you eat this meat, it's quality. It's grass fed, no junk in it. That's it. I don't have to say nothing else, make any other claims. That's it. It's quality, grass fed, no junk in it. Y'all get how simple that is? So, because people will try to take you down a meat conversation, a health conversation, this and that. And I'm like, do you keep your options open for making more money, first of all? Yes. Do you believe that people got to pay taxes when they turn 18 and more? Yeah, right. It's the law. Get paid from it. See, this right here. In today's times, you must master your 4 key areas. Down here, the wealthy have mastered these 4 elements. It's now time for you to do the same. If you read that and then paraphrase it afterwards, you win. Are we on the same simple page of how easy this business is? So, just as birds of a feather flock together, you literally attract people with whom you share core values and life priorities with. So, had I not had somewhat of a track record of success in life and in business and writing books and all that, then maybe some of these other authors and others, because now I'm a peer, do you get that? So when I call and say, hey, you know what, the author of Schedule for Success, who told you you broke, is holding a conference and he would like to invite you there. It's like, great, and they'll come, you know. Some give a number and I'm like, well, nah, we need to grow, we ain't that big yet. But I mean, we could have, I mean, even P. Diddy showed interest in Wealth Day. And I'm not just throwing it out to throw it out. I'm saying we're not far from, you know, getting Obama at that rate. For example, if you conceive your business more positively, you will attract similar people with whom you can grow your business and whom you can also help in their lives and businesses. For me, I see people go on roller coasters. You see some of them too.
Mhm.
They're like, oh, I'm gonna be it every Saturday. I'm gonna be it every Tuesday. Me and Fred and Jason Lee had a conference call one time with 3 other people, minus William. 2 of them, one the next Saturday, we never seen them since, who said, oh, I'll be at every, and all I said was, I want you to make a commitment to be at every Tuesday and every Saturday. That's it. Unless obviously you gotta go out of town or something. But there are people who are laying in the bed on Saturday morning, knowing they should be here, made a commitment to be here. It's like, oh man, I can't. I got something else going on. You know. So same thing, we had another one. And I've watched her get excited and start going, and the next day, you know, life starts happening, all this other stuff, and you like, hey, you gotta organize yourself. It's like, why? Life isn't gonna ever stop happening. So you get busy, so you gotta organize your schedule to make sure that, and this is what I look at it. A person can make from $6,000 to $100,000 a month. One customer, 6,000. 20, 100,000. Now, if you don't have a dream or a goal, you wouldn't value this. You have to value what you have. And then realize that it's like, oh, now it's something worth working for. Remember, I made the comment, even at 6,000 a month, that's more than the average corporate person works. And they will work 50 hours a week doing this. That's what they work, 50 hours a week. We have to be mindful to be on point. Conservatively, if your business life is more negatively grounded, you will find coming into your business, whether it's as customers or business partners, who are more of a negative persuasion too. So if you deal with people personally who are negative, then you're gonna bring them in and they will find a problem with me. I promise you. They will find a problem with William. I promise you. They will find a problem with one of the individuals in this room, because that's what they do. There are some people who bring confrontation.
Mhm.
We had a lady come out to the Bible study one night. It just tripped me out. She came at 7:40. We're done. I finished at like 7:45. So we're packing up, leaving, and everybody knows, usually right afterwards, I'm out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I come, I do my part, I teach from 7 to 8, and I'm leaving. I'm going home. You know, from there, she's like, oh, y'all done? Y'all like Lutherans. I said, no, we're not like anyone. What are you talking about? No, she's like, oh, it's like church. And I said, no, it's a business leadership. I just happen to teach it from the Bible. Everything else I'll teach and they reference the Bible, but here I'm actually teaching business and success from the Bible because I want people to do better no matter where they come from in life. You know, then she's like, she had instantly had a problem with Shelly. Simply because Shelly said, actually, this is Shelly's job. So you got to understand, when I travel and do all of that, you know, people don't get, when I'm in New York City at the Jacob Javits Center and it's me, Dr. Pinkin, and Steve Harvey on the bill. So they got Paul Jones and Big Lights, author of Schedule for Success, Who Told You You're Broke, you know, this and that, entrepreneur, millionaire. It's like people don't get to walk up to me like that. So it's like, well, what can I help you with so I can see? Because I'll be honest with you, I'm like, I don't want to speak to everybody because you can't.
Mhm.
You know, so people will come up and be like, rah, you like, hi. You know, so she did her normal. She basically said, well, did you have a meeting with him or, you know, because in her mind, she knows that no one will come that late. It's 7:45, literally. No one would come that late to something when the thing's over and say, I want this person's time. So she said, did you have an appointment with him? Right, because not even the reps can just call me and be like, hey, Paulie, I need you to come over here real quick. I'm like, then please email the office. It's like, because I don't want to seem bougie or like I don't want to do it. It's like, you really don't get that I'm such on a schedule that the office would even know it's like, no, he has to pick up little PJ at that time. You know what I mean? So it doesn't matter. It could be like, it could appear that I'm doing nothing, but doing nothing is actually scheduled. Y'all get that? What time is it, by the way? I forgot my watch. You know. So doing nothing is scheduled.
11:40.
11:40, good. We're about to be done. Because at 12 o'clock, you'll see PJ's getting dropped off. You know what I mean? So the day is already scheduled. So if somebody were to say, hey man, I need about 20 minutes of your time afterwards, I would say, I got a Chuck E. Cheese appointment with my son. So that's why I'm like this. So I can just take the jacket off, and me and him can just go and do our thing. And you get my point? So I had to accommodate the day. It's like, we already got a Chuck E. Cheese appointment. I know what's going down. Does this make sense to you? But if somebody wants to come in and get in that time, they can't have that time because that time is scheduled already. Well, this person was offended and told me that I need to have the meeting closer to the community. And I said, I don't know what you mean. I live right up the street. I'm like, it is. I live right here. Just, you know, come on out. Anybody can come. We don't post billboards. We don't advertise. We don't. We tell people, do word of mouth. There's nothing for me to do. If you want to come, come. I've never called any of you reps and said, hey, Fred, can you come to the Wednesday night? You get my point? We've never done that because it's not for that. It's there to teach business. There's coaches there. There's other people there. There's owners of daycare centers. They all come at different times, and you know, sometimes it's packed. Some days it's 3 people. Some days it's just my family. But I teach it as if it's a packed room. And then I said, well, come next week. And she's like, because people in Minnesota, she told me it was something wrong with people in Minnesota. She told me that, you know, black people need to unite and do more and this and that. And I'm like, you're speaking to the guy who produces Wealth Day. You're speaking to the guy who's wrote these books. You're speaking to a guy who actually sent all these inner city kids to college. And instead of actually understanding why you knew it started at 7, why did you come? That's what I asked her. I said, well, can I ask you a simple question? If you knew it started at 7, why did you come an hour late? I said, I don't understand that. And I said, and if you don't like Minnesota, why do you live here? I said, because I love it here. I'm like, if I loved it in Florida, you know what? If I didn't live there, I'd have a house there. You know, and technically with Mario living there, I do have a house there because I can go to Mario's without even asking and just get the floor, you know, or the couch. It doesn't matter. You get my point? And my whole point of telling you that story is there will be people who, as I'm looking at this, you know, they're going to be negative. It's like I wouldn't bring that lady into business because she would come to a Tuesday night and she'd be like, well, I went to this other meeting and this is how they did it. Y'all should do it like that. Before I bring my people out, you know what? Let me protect y'all real quick. The number one nail in the coffin for me is when a person gives me an ultimatum. I need to do this or I'm quitting. I'm sorry, you have to quit now. I'm sorry, you have to quit now. It doesn't matter who you are. You must quit now. I've lost all respect because that's not the conversation of solution. You get that? That's a brat. If I don't do this, I'm not going to clean my room. I'm going to whoop your behind, first of all. Right. And you still got to clean your room, right? That's what a brat does. Those are unproductive people in society. You get that? So I'm like, I'll offer you a solution. You come back with a better solution. I might even put an ear to it, but it must be a middle point somewhere. But if I see anywhere in that, or I'm gonna have to quit, I'm sorry, you gotta quit. It's a terrorist attack. We don't negotiate with terrorists. You get that? What will a terrorist do? You change your laws, United States of America, or we want to do this. We got a defense. Sorry, let's do it. Let's get it on. But we're not going to change the law. Do y'all get that? You have to, that's a core value. You got to listen to people. No one in their right mind who really is looking out for your well-being and their overall success would consider quitting or canceling unless they do not value it. You get that? I got to fix a transmission in my Range Rover. I still value it. I'm going to fix that bad boy. You get my point? I may sell it afterwards, but I'm not trying to junk it. You get my point? And I'm probably not going to sell it. You know what I mean? Because once you get rolling, you're like, shoot, forget that. Shoot, get you a Range. You know? But it's a matter of you value it. But if anything you don't value, you know what? I tell you what, woman, you don't do this, I'm breaking up with you. Break up with him. Break on. Did I drive the point home enough? Somebody trying to change you with a subliminal threat, drop them quick. There's been people who I liked, that I really liked, hit me with the subliminal threat, and I'm like, you just went against one of my core values. Because I promise you I won't threaten you. I'll never threaten you. I'm gonna come with a solution. There ain't gonna be no or else. Even my wife would be like, baby, I need you to do this. Or else what? Nothing, I just need you to do it. You know what I mean? It's like, I ain't leaving. I ain't break you up. I ain't gonna put my hands on you. I ain't tripping. Do it. Right? Sometimes you do it because you love that man he asked you. How to go fishing. We need to go fishing. You need to look at that hook in that water. You need to understand the hook is sharp. You're going for a business partner. It must go in the water. When you see the bubbles, that means there's life out there. You get this? You pay attention to everything. You want a teammate. All that is for your own success and theirs. And I promise you, you will get ahead. See y'all Tuesday with your reps. And schedule for success with those for Wealth Day. Amen.
Amen.
Good presentation. Good presentation. Now, just for all of y'all here, there is, I don't know if you're familiar, she actually goes to speak to her church, Dr. Vera Price. She's doing the seminar and it's just her and it costs $45. So what you're getting here, just to let you know this value is just like, and I was just like, wow, I said, not no knock against her or nothing like that, but just to show you what kind of value this is. And that's just her. And she's a member of Speak the Word Church.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm working with